She fined a soldier for parking in his own driveway. Karen Reynolds thought she could humiliate him, control the street, and everyone would obey. But she had no idea he wasn't alone. And today, the army was coming to her front yard. Before we dive in, drop your city or state in the comments. I want to see how far this story of justice travels. And if you believe standing up to bullies matters, hit like and subscribe, because today, justice speaks loud. Ryan Mitchell had just returned from a grueling week at the army base. His uniform was immaculate, boots polished, medals gleaming, a symbol of discipline, honor, and service. Pulling into his suburban driveway, he expected nothing more than a quiet afternoon. But the moment he stepped out of his vehicle, a storm awaited him. Karen Reynolds, the HOA president, stomped onto the street, her face red with anger. She brandished a bright red parking violation ticket, waving it in the air like a weapon. "You can't park here without following the rules," she shouted, her voice echoing between the houses. Neighbors peeked from their windows, whispering nervously. No one had ever seen Karen this aggressive. Ryan stayed calm, his hands behind his back, eyes steady on hers. He didn't speak, didn't raise his voice, didn't move an inch closer. The tension was palpable. This wasn't just a minor dispute over a parking spot, it was a clash of arrogance and honor, a test of authority and respect. Karen's nostrils flared, and she leaned closer, slamming the ticket against Ryan's car. "I'm enforcing the HOA rules. You have to follow them," she shouted. But Ryan remained silent. The calmness in his posture contrasted sharply with her fury, creating a silent battle that drew the attention of everyone on the street. Neighbors murmured among themselves, glancing at Ryan's uniform and then back at Karen, sensing the imbalance. A few secretly recorded the confrontation on their phones. The air was heavy with anticipation. Ryan subtly reached for his phone, making a quick call, nothing dramatic, yet the ripple effect would soon change the balance of power entirely. For the first time that afternoon, Karen hesitated. She thought she had total control, but the storm she couldn't see was already moving toward her. The neighborhood was about to witness a lesson in humility, honor, and unexpected justice. Karen Reynolds, feeling her authority challenged, stomped forward, waving the parking ticket like a gavel of power. "You think you can just park anywhere? I make the rules here," she shouted, her voice cracking with frustration. Neighbors peeked cautiously from windows and porches, sensing the escalating tension. The street had never felt this charged before. Karen's anger was palpable, her arrogance shining through every word, every movement, as if she alone controlled the neighborhood. Ryan Mitchell, the black soldier, stood perfectly still, his eyes fixed on her, unwavering. Hands behind his back, his uniform immaculate, he radiated calm confidence. He did not respond verbally, he let the silence speak for him. Each second of quiet, each steady glance, amplified the pressure on Karen. The contrast between her fury and his composed demeanor made the confrontation almost unbearable to watch. Whispers spread among the neighbors. Some reached for their phones, capturing every tense moment, unsure of what would happen next. Karen, growing increasingly frustrated, leaned closer, jabbing the ticket against the hood of Ryan's car. "Do you think rules don't apply to you just because of your uniform?" she demanded, her words sharp and accusatory. The statement, meant to humiliate, landed empty. Ryan's calmness only grew, his posture unbroken. The street seemed to hold its breath, the tension crackling in the air like static electricity. A subtle movement in Ryan's hand hinted at a phone call. Just a quick press of a button, almost invisible, yet it carried monumental significance. Karen did not notice it, too consumed by her sense of power and entitlement. Ryan's call was simple, direct, unassuming, but it summoned a force Karen could never anticipate. The quiet before the storm stretched, every second building anticipation, every glance, every whispered word from neighbors adding weight to the moment. Karen's confidence began to falter, though she did not yet realize it. Her domineering posture wavered ever so slightly, her words losing some of their bite. Ryan's unwavering calm, combined with the invisible yet impending presence of his army support, shifted the energy of the street. The tension escalated to a peak where everyone watching knew something dramatic was about to happen. The imbalance was clear. Karen believed she controlled the situation, but the scales were tipping. And soon, the neighborhood would witness an unexpected reversal, a shocking lesson in authority, humility, and undeniable justice. The tension on the street reached its breaking point. Karen Reynolds, still fuming, leaned on her driveway, convinced she had complete control. Her HOA authority, in her mind, was absolute. She did not see Ryan Mitchell, the black soldier, move with quiet precision. The subtle press of his phone earlier had summoned reinforcements, the army. Within moments, the sound of heavy engines and tires crunching on asphalt shattered the silence. Karen's eyes widened as uniformed soldiers stepped down from military trucks, their presence commanding respect and undeniable authority. The street, once tense, now vibrated with awe and disbelief. Neighbors stepped back, phones raised, capturing every jaw-dropping moment. Ryan stepped forward calmly, his gaze unwavering. He explained briefly that the HOA had violated federal guidelines by fining an active-duty soldier unfairly. The soldiers presented official paperwork confirming the Army's support, their authority overriding Karen's petty rules. Karen's face drained of color, her confidence evaporated instantly. Neighbors whispered among themselves, murmuring, "Did you see that?" And she had no idea. Karen's attempts to argue fell flat. The public humiliation she once thought impossible was now unfolding. Every ounce of control she had clung to slipped away. Ryan's calm, combined with the Army's presence, transformed the confrontation from a simple neighborhood dispute into a lesson in respect, humility, and power dynamics. Karen stood frozen, finally realizing that arrogance and abuse of authority carry consequences, and sometimes, justice arrives in full force. The street, once quiet and tense, now buzzed with whispers of disbelief and admiration for Ryan. The twist was complete, the bully exposed, authority reversed, and justice, clear, undeniable, and empowering, had been served. Karen Reynolds stood frozen, her face a mixture of shock, embarrassment, and disbelief. The confidence that had fueled her petty reign over the neighborhood was completely shattered. Around her, soldiers stood tall, their presence commanding respect, magnifying the humiliation of the once dominant HOA president. Ryan Mitchell, the black soldier, straightened his uniform, calm yet victorious, and addressed the neighbors. Rules exist to protect, not to bully. Authority isn't a weapon against people doing the right thing. His words carried weight, a reminder that courage and honor always matter. The street, previously tense, now filled with murmurs of approval and admiration. Neighbors exchanged glances, some clapping quietly, acknowledging the turning of the tables. Phones continued recording the moment, capturing Karen's stunned expression and Ryan's composed demeanor. The footage would circulate beyond the block, spreading a story of justice and courage. Ryan's quiet strength and the Army's presence had demonstrated that arrogance and abuse have consequences, no matter how powerful someone believes they are. Karen attempted to speak, to reclaim some dignity, but the soldiers politely intervened, explaining that HOA rules could not override federal protections for active-duty military members. Every word she tried to throw back fell flat. The neighborhood had already witnessed the shift. Ryan's calm defiance, backed by authority and solidarity, had turned humiliation into a public triumph. Finally, Ryan walked back toward his driveway, dignity intact. The neighbors continued to watch, inspired and relieved that justice had prevailed. Karen slowly retreated into her house, humbled and silenced, a stark contrast to the commanding presence she had projected moments earlier. The street returned to calm, yet the impact lingered. The lesson was clear: bullying and abuse of authority cannot overpower honor, courage, and collective justice. Ryan's black male presence, his calm defiance, and the backing of the Army had made this more than a neighborhood victory. It was a powerful statement that fairness, respect, and justice always have the final word.